والصلاة والسلام بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم الحمد لله رب العالمین والصلاة والسلام على اشرف الانبیاء والمرسلین حبیب قلوبنا و طبیب نفوسنا ابی القاسم المصطفى محمد و علی اهل بیته الطیبین الطاهرین المعصومین المکرمین سیما بقیت الله فی الارضین و لعن الدائم علی اعدائهم اجمعین من الآن الی قیام یوم الدین. اعوذ بالله من الشیطان الرجیم. کل من علیها فان و یبقى وجه ربک ذو الجلال والاکرام. Everything in this world is subject to decay and subject to perishment except the face of your Lord, except your Lord, Dhul Jalal wal Ikram, the one who has majesty, who has the might, who is the Almighty, who has the power. He is the all-powerful. We haven't maybe noticed or counted the days of the Ramadan that has passed, but believe it or not, 17 days of the month of Ramadan, more than a half, almost nearly 2/3 of the Ramadan, we can say has passed. On these nights, we have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from one thing. And that is what we are going to talk about tonight. Brothers and sisters, time does fly. That's a reality. Time flies by quickly. One of the things that we are confronting in our lives, and we have the challenges of facing with it, is taswif. Taswif. From the bab taf'il of sawfa. Sawfa in Arabic means something that belongs to future. So if you want to say, I will buy a book, you say, sawfa ashtari kitaban. You want to say, I will repent, sawfa atubu insha'Allah. You want to say something, or you want to refer to a near future, you use the word sawfa. What is taswif then? Taswif is postponing things to a near future. When are you going to change? Inshallah, I will start my new job from very soon. I will start my diet from tomorrow. I'll do this, inshallah from tomorrow. Why not now? How many of you before the start of the month of Ramadan promised yourself that this Ramadan will be a change in your vision or in your understanding of the Holy Quran and the time that you're going to spend with the Holy Quran? How many of you have promised yourself before the start of Ramadan that this Ramadan I'm going to remove that bad moral or bad behavior that I have and put it aside? How many of you have promised yourself to, inshallah, spend some time in this month of Ramadan in solitude and khalwat with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Today is the 17th day. We should say the 17th day is not here with us anymore. That's how we should say it. Some of these wise men amongst the scholars that we have saw, anytime we ask them, how old are you? They would come up with a very smart and wise answer. They don't say we are 80, we are 60, we are 50. They say we don't have 50 years. Should you say, I don't have 17 days of the month of Ramadan? The answer is yours. It's yours to answer. Did I want this Ramadan to be a different Ramadan from the past Ramadans of my life? Or am I going to be the exact same person afterwards? I promised, inshallah, for the Layal al-Qadr, I spend my time reciting the du'as, doing this and that. Taswif is something that the youth is challenging with today. Agha, I love worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I love the fact that you guys pray beautifully together. But you know what? I promised myself, inshallah, when I pass 40, I'm going to start going to masjid. Let me tell you, you're not going to go to masjid after 40. Because it's been promised that if you don't change before you hit the age of 40, then get hopeless of yourself. Because the habits and the morals that you carry, they will become part of your personality. Changing them from then on will need a surgery. Should I get hopeless of myself if I'm past 40? No. But if you are prior to the age 40, this is what the ahadith tell us. I'm not coming up with it. I'm not making it up myself. This arba'ina sana is so important, and it's coming so quickly to us. When we were in our early 20s and someone would tell me, I'm 41, I would say to myself that, wow, I have a long way. I have a long way to get there. Yet guess what? Time flies. Time does fly. Pretty quickly. Dua Abi Hamza Thumali. Inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us tawfiq, we'll start reciting this dua. Maybe I can claim on my own that this dua is the most romantic manuscript ever written by a human being, truly talking to a loved one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Written by Imam As-Sajjad. He says in part of this dua that I recommend myself and you, everyone tonight with us, to please spend time contemplating on the phrases of this dua. Dua Abi Hamza Al-Thumali. He says in part of this dua, وَلَقَدْ أَفْنَيْتُ أُمْرِي بِالتَّسْوِيفِ وَالْآمَالِ. I have wasted my life in taswif, in continuously postponing and promising a change that will come to me. The change that I have no idea when it will come to me. Agha, I have a su'al. I have a question. Go ahead. I'm answering your question. Where is the taswif coming from? Part of it is because we feel, especially when we are younger, that we are gonna dwell in this land forever. We see death and we think it is for others. We go to funerals and we think that we will never die. We don't take the hereafter seriously. We forget the fact that we have eternity ahead of us and we should prepare for it. Number two, we have been continuously entertained in this life of dunya. Constant entertainment. Take a break. Take a break from your phone. Take a break from the social media. Take a break from whatever that makes you constantly and continuously entertained. Some of the entertainments that we are enjoying on our times have become the purpose of our lives. Then we lose the philosophy. Then we get We forget the philosophy of why we are in this life of dunya, why are we created, and then we come to the Shaykh and we say, why did Allah create me? I'm not saying don't ask that question. You already knew the answer. You have forgotten it because of your lifestyle. لقد أفنيت بالتسويف والآمال عمري. Another thing that Imam mentions, he brings taswif next to what? Amal, the dreams. You have planned the next 10 years of your life. I promise majority of you have done this. You know, they ask you in the system here, they ask you, how would you look like next 10 years? And if you can't come up with an answer, that means probably you are behind the standards, right? You should know where you are standing in the next 10 years, sure. But would you consider in your calculations that unforeseen circumstances might come your way? You might be given a pass to leave the train, or you might be forced to leave the train of life in this dunya. Next station is yours. وَلَقَدْ أَفْنَيْتُ بِالتَّسْوِيفِ وَالْآمَالِ عُمْرِي. I wasted my time with this taswif. Oh Allah, protect us from taswif. No, this ilayamin means that my words haven't been impacting you. Oh Allah, protect us from taswif. Layal al-Qadr are almost here. And we're going to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're going to confess that we haven't prepared ourselves for Layal al-Qadr. Oh Allah, I had the intention to prepare myself for Layal al-Qadr from the very first night of this Ramadan. Forgive me. I'm still the same person. I'm still the same person. I haven't changed. I haven't got prepared for Layal al-Qadr. Layal al-Qadr are there for us to have our du'as answered. Why some of our du'as never come true, never get answered? Because we do not have the capacity for what we ask. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there to answer your prayers. Ud'uni, you all know it. Call upon me. I'm there to respond. But the Allah looks at your capacity first. The same way, the same Allah that Quran says, La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha, the one that who won't test you and give you tests and tribulations beyond your capacity, of course, He will not answer your du'as beyond your capacity. The same Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who wouldn't add to your burden more than what you can carry, the same Allah wouldn't answer your prayers more than what you deserve. This entire universe is built or has been created based on the liyaqa, deserving. If all of us are present or get to see each other on the Justice Day or Day of Justice, which we will see these familiar faces. If not anymore in this dunya, somewhere else we're going to see each other and we're going to remember each other. On that day, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges us with, we are going to be, He's fair. We deserve it. And if He shows this life of dunya to us, we know that we deserve it. We deserve whatever we got. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase our capacity. Layal al-Qadr are coming. Increase our capacity. لَقَدْ أَفْنَيْتُ بِالتَّسْوِيفِ وَالْآمَالِ عُمْرِي. We have wasted. The very first step to enjoy du'as, the very first step to enjoy salat, the very first step to enjoy worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is this: the confession to the guilt that we carry and we have. There are 9 advices that Ayatollah Kashmiri, one of the students of Sayyid Ayatollah Qadhi, has given for the month of Ramadan. Some of you might have come across these 9 advices. Very beautiful. Seems like he's the scholar that one of his students, when he went to him and asked, Agha, what is the reason that we don't see our Imam of time? He told him, turn your face away from me. And this guy looked the other way and said, can you see me? I said, no. I said, this is why you can't see. We have turned our faces away from our Imam of time. That's why we can't see him. This same man is giving 9 beautiful advices, some of which inshallah I'll cover tonight. If we get tomorrow night, I'll cover some of them. But let's see whatever is our tawfiq. Recite the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Number 1 thing that he recommends. I love that we get together and recite 1 juz of Quran every day. That's an absolute blessing. But look and see what Ayatollah Kashmiri asks. He says quality over quantity. Don't simply try to complete verses and supplications. Rather, try digesting them. Take in small bites of a spiritual food so that it becomes part of your soul. Our biggest problem is our lack of importance towards religion. For example, think of how many years of fasting have passed, which you have spent eagerly in excessive reading and recitation. Where have you reached with that, and what did you achieve from it? In the beginning of the month, be sure to make an intention that your fasts are only for the sake of Allah, only Allah. Practice etiquettes and recommended acts of fasting only spirit for it. Let me go beyond my ability. Let me finish the Mafatihul Janan. Sheikh Abbas is going to come to your dream and say, stop, please. Next. Ramadan is the spring of Holy Quran. Al-Ramadan, Rabi'ul Quran. In this spring, choose 1 verse. He doesn't say 1 juz. I don't even know where did that come from. 1 verse per day, and then recite that and contemplate on that verse until iftar. During this time of purification, of observing the fasting of the month of Ramadan, think about 1 verse. Just 1 verse in your day. 1 verse per day will make it to 30 verses. Until iftar, repeat that verse in your mind. And by the time of iftar, Ayatollah Kashmiri says, this is not my word, hopefully as iftar draws near, the true meaning of the verse will unveil itself for you. I have tried this myself. The meanings of that verse that I used to think to be true were the apparent meanings by the time of the suhoor, by the beginning of the fasting, and by the time it was iftar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was shedding more light. For example, think about Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. And during 1 day of your life, while you're fasting, while your heart is getting purified, look at the qudra and the power of Allah in every corner of your life. In whatever field of expertise you are, whatever you do, you drive, you think of the power of Allah. You get to work, you think of the power of Allah. You come to the masjid, you think of the power of Allah. For tonight, I think it's enough. If there's any question before that, please recite the loud salawat. If you're not tired, recite the louder salawat. So, if there's any question, I'm at your service. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum.
Why is it that actions do not get accepted without wilayat?
Very good question. Should we choose that as a topic of a lecture for a night? MashaAllah. The question is, why is it that actions without having wilaya will not be accepted? The answer is pretty simple, yet it takes a lot of prerequisite beliefs to accept it. It's because wilaya is the soul and the spirit of everything. They went to Imam al-Ma'asum and they asked him, what is salat? Ibn Abi Talib. The spirit of salat is wilaya. Because these actions should get us where? To accept the command of Allah. Where is the most challenging part to accept the command of Allah? When it comes to guardianship. And believe it or not, either we are under the wilaya of Allah and we believe the wilaya of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and the wilaya of Rasulullah is the continuation of the wilaya of Allah, the authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the ones whom He has appointed them to be there. If we do not accept that, that means we are accepting someone else's authority. And the authority, wilaya, of anyone but Allah and those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appoints is the wilaya of Taghut. Therefore, your salat, your fasting. When we are bringing up this conversation, we do not talk about the jurisprudence point of view. Fiqhi point of view is something else. We are talking about the i'tiqadi and belief point of view. I hope I have answered your question. If not, I'm at your service in private afterwards. Any more questions? But the question was really good, brothers and sisters. Bismillah. Wa alaikum assalam. Of course, please. That's a very good point. He's saying that if the wilaya of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam would have been accepted by everyone after the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, there wouldn't have been any injustice in this world. Everyone would have had fair access to all the resources, and their life would have been in a fair way, so that equality and justice, of course equality is not similar to justice, two different things, but equality of access. There would have been no discrimination whatsoever. Aghay Hijazi, in fact, if you know Sayyid Hijazi, who was here in the month of Sha'ban, I have this from him, and by this I remember him always. We were driving to LAX together. This was Ramadan 2016. And he said, if these non-Muslim American countrymen that we have here, if they knew that by accepting the will, if at that time after the Holy Prophet, if those who did not accept the command of Rasul, if they knew how much of life they have missed and how much of the blessings of this life of dunya they have been deprived from just because of being away from the wilaya, they will complain to Allah on the day of judgment from those who did not allow the wilaya of Amir al-Mu'minin to be prevailed. But yeah, thank you for your addition. MashaAllah. Sisters, Of course. Oh, it's open to, if you have to say it's QCA. Go ahead, Brother Hussein. May Allah bless you. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. So, brothers and sisters, the very good point Brother Hussein is making is summarized in this. We are here in this dunya not to just worship Allah. We are here to transit from worshippers of Allah to slaves of Allah. A transition from worshippers. Being a worshipper is easy. Shaitan was a very good worshipper. He was very clever in worshipping Allah, but he wasn't a slave of Allah. Why? Because when Allah commanded him to prostrate before Adam. And what do we mean by sajda? Prostration means to be in full control. I'm submitting myself to Allah. The format of it is, yes, putting my forehead on the ground, on the floor. But if someone told you, if someone asked you to define sajda, don't say bowing down or prostration. Sajda means being submitted in a way that you're under the full control. You accept the full authority of your Lord. That's what sajda means. That's why we don't have to translate sajda. Shaitan did everything. Shaitan did everything. He was a very good worshipper. At the very end, Allah wanted to prove him that these were all worships and has no worth, has no value, if it is without the spirit of amal. And that is wilaya. Wilaya of Allah, the continuation of which will be the wilaya of Rasulullah, the messenger of Allah, and the continuation of that would be the wilaya of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, all the way to the wilaya of our beloved Imam of time, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. If those people at the time of Amir al-Mu'minin rejected wilaya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left us with a hope, and that is our Imam of time. The month of Ramadan is Rabi'ul Quran, is the spring of the Holy Quran, yet the truth of the Quran is Quran al-Natiq. The spirit of the Quran is Imam of time. Therefore, we should say the month of Ramadan should be the month of getting reconnected to our Imam of time. If they missed out on accepting the wilaya of Amir al-Mu'minin, we should not miss out on accepting the wilaya of our Imam of time. The test is out there. Our test is out there. There is no way to go around that testing. There is no way to cheat on this test. Cheating is not defined here. So let's make a dua. Oh Allah, do not let us go in failure like the people the wilaya of our beloved Imam of time, inshaAllah. Grant us a chance to be anfa'un nas, the most beneficial of all to our beloved Imam of time. Oh Allah, we ask you to grant our eyes the tawfiq, the honor and privilege to see the Imam, to our ears to hear his voice, to our body, limbs and hands and our ability, our reputation, our money to be spent for his cause, inshaAllah. For all the marhumin, for all the deceased ones, please recite the salawat. For the scholars, ulama, for the martyrs, the shuhada, please recite the salawat with Fatiha. Allah.